You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information. The views and opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily represent those of the network, its advertisers, owners, or sponsors.
Thank you for click and play. This is episode 236 of the IT and the D Show. Guests this week include Neil and Than. They are the proprietors of High Score eSports in Ferndale, Michigan. They're going to be talking about what's going on in the world of online gaming. We also got Brad and Sean from Zing Media talking about what's kind of the future of media. They're old traditional guys that are moving into the new space of influencers. Should be a great conversation. And we're going to wrap things up with Aaron Grabowski, the big Grabowski. He's one of the top 40 pinball machine players in the U.S., which is I never heard.
Who knew that got ranked and that was a thing?
I mean, come on, curling is an Olympic sport.
Right. I know. Dude, and this guy's like he was the best, the Michigan champion twice, and he's going to yeah, we'll get into that later.
We demand a lot of our databases, and our databases demand a lot of us. With Google Cloud Spanner on Google Cloud Platform, database architects get a fully managed relational database that's both globally consistent, scales horizontally across data centers, and speaks SQL. Instead of endless provisioning and worrying about maintenance, you can focus on growing your business. Click to learn more about Cloud Spanner. Visit g.co/getspanner. Once again, that's g.co/GETSPANNER.
Davey, that's a professional read right there.
That's
what that is.
Go figure.
Thanks.
Davey may fire when ready.
You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Following program is intended for mature audiences.
I'm Wyatt, that's Gary, you're Bob, and you're Dave. This is the IT and the D Show.
This is Max Headroom. And what you're about to witness is one of the most sinister-sounding intros to a trailer to one of the greatest epics ever.
This is Billy D. Williams. Bob and Dave and I are enjoying a Colt 45 right now. And remember, IT in the D, it works every time.
Just where do you guys think you are? The Library of Congress? Detroit? Beyond the sun? Any of those right?
Take him to Detroit. No! No, not Detroit! No! No, please! Anything but that! No!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Then don't come! Shut up!
Hi, this is Christy Swanson, and you're listening to the IT in the D Show. And Bob and Dave touch my hoo-hoos.
What happens when you tap the angry beaver in the bunghole?
Exactly. Come on. Someone tries. Get the hell with this. I'm calling a break. We'll come back to the show.
This is Guilfoyle from Silicon Valley, and the only two guys I hate more than Dinesh are Bob and Dave. Suck it, guys.
What's up, everybody? This is Billy Zapka. Sweep the leg. Listening to IT and the D Show. No mercy.
I may have to wipe the geek off.
Hi, this is Kelly LeBrock from Weird Science. So, Bob and Dave, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
Are we at a break yet?
Hey, this is Zach McGowan from Planet Earth. You're listening to IT and the D Show.
Hi, I'm Ernie Hudson, and you're listening to IT and the D. All you nerds out there.
Nerds.
Nerds!
What is a nerd?
I'm a nerd, and I'm pretty proud of it.
Hey, Detroit, this is Anthony Michael Hall. You're listening to my buddies Bob and Dave on IT in the D.
This is Scott Steiner, Big Pump Pump. The IT in the D Show is your hookup. Holler if you hear me.
You're in your underwear? I'm in my underwear. Here, let's hang out.
No, I'm sorry, honey. I have a headache.
I definitely want to see Bob in his underwear. That's a fact.
Hey, everybody, this is Tony Todd. What's happening? You may know me from Candyman, The Rock, Sushi Girls, Zoom, Night of the Living Dead. A lot of pop culture media madness. Anyway, you're listening to IT in the D Show business.
I'm totally into Dave, but not so much Bob.
This is Robert Hayes, the tit striker to my mother. When I'm not hanging out at the Magumbo bar, I'm listening to the IT and the D Show. It's worse than Detroit.
Is there such thing as a meat hangover?
I love my Monday meat steak.
Hey, folks, this is WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and you're listening to the IT and the D Show. Tough guy. Ho!
So,
What would you little maniacs like to do first?
The question isn't what are we going to do, the question is what aren't we going to do.
Ludicrous speed! Sir, had you better buckle up? Now buckle this! Ludicrous speed! Go!
Welcome back. Thank you for hanging out with us. This is the one and only IT in the D Show, episode 236, broadcasting live here in Studio One, Podcast Detroit in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan.
That's right. We said it. Podcast Detroit, and we're in Royal Oak.
Bob the sales
Fight
guy.
me if you want to.
Hanging out. That's Dave the Geek. Nuri the FNG's in studio. Randy and Do the Twitter's Walkers with us as well. Find us online, itinthed.com. Give us a like on the socials and subscribe to us everywhere fine podcasts are sold.
Hey, so before we dive in, support for today's show comes from Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams is your hub for teamwork in Office 365. With so much to look after, wouldn't it be great if there was just one place to look? Teams is that single workspace where you can work, share, and connect with the people in your work life. Teams bring together your chats, meetings, files, and apps all in one place. Take teamwork where you work with apps for mobile and desktop. So whether you're sprinting towards a deadline or sharing your next big idea, Teams can help you and your team achieve even more. Microsoft Teams and Office 365. Visit office.com/teams to learn more. That's office.com/teams.
Thanks, Microsoft.
Whee!
Exactly. Before we get any further, check the Meet tab on our site. That's MEET, not MEAT. We got a couple things coming up. Free Podcaster Day, March 3rd. Right here at Podcast Detroit in Royal Oak.
Yeah, that's this Saturday.
If you do not know if you want to be a podcaster or not, it's a great day for it. Sign up on
Well, and more
Podcast
to the point,
Detroit.
you know what? So our biggest areas of growth last year were people that were recording at home. And so if you're recording at home and you're ready for one of two things. One, you're ready for it to start sounding better. Or two, you're ready to start having guests and you don't want them in your living room or basement. Come check us out.
And then on the 8th, Saturday, we have, Thursday on the 8th, we have Podcaster Meetup over at Falling Down Beer Company, which is the delicious beer we're drinking right now. Hang out with other podcasters. You don't need to be part of the network. Just come and hang out. Share stories, ask questions, whatever you need to do.
Before that, Tuesday the 6th is the Ann Arbor Meetup. We'll be at Haymaker
yeah.
House.
So much stuff going on.
And we'll have cupcakes because it's our 1-year anniversary in Ann Arbor.
Which means Bob will show up.
Yeah, well, I'll be there.
You keep saying that. But
Oh, yeah. And then the 15th is our next meetup. And in case you haven't noticed, it's been rescheduled. It is not going to be at Imagine Theaters. It is going to be at Embrew. So, yeah, come check us out at Embrew and have a good time.
Downstairs, you can play shuffleboard, pinball.
Arcade games.
Yeah.
Dude, they have like
that place is cool.
They have the Star Wars arcade game. How bad
I
could it be?
that in their pizza.
It's good.
It's like, yeah, that's like, I would order that pizza. It's yeah, anyway.
Oh, and then we got one more thing. So the first, this Thursday, we're going to be at the Detroit Policy Conference all day over at Soundboard. And then after that, we'll be hanging out with the Daily Detroit folks over at 2 James.
Yeah. But hey, shout out to Mike DeSantis, Great Lakes Comic Con. You once again,
phenomenal time.
You run a very a good ship there. Everyone had a good time. Everyone had nothing but good things to say. That is one of the family friendly. It's the very comic oriented. We spent the weekend there. Nothing but good things to be said. I got to meet Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man.
I'm sorry, Bob. I'm sorry.
Got to hold the belt.
I was sick. I did not get the drop. Put in our intro.
It's
It'll
fine.
be there next week.
William
Catt was phenomenal.
He's
forget
the greatest American hero.
Euro, yeah.
All
we wanted to do was take him to a Coney Island and have the greatest American hero eating the greatest American euro.
Right.
But
Didn't
it
happen. He was at Cadvan's afterwards, but I didn't feel like ordering him a euro.
Can he hop on wireless sponsored by Eero?
Believe it or not, I'm surfing
on air. I never thought, yeah. And then the voice of Megatron and Optimus Prime was hanging out. We got a couple drops from
He
him
did
too.
both at once. That's just it's bizarre
And
to
Professor
me.
X
Right,
from the X-Men
cartoons.
cartoons was that. Oh, that was and it was amazing.
And then before we dive into all of us at Podcast Detroit and IT in the D, send out thoughts and wishes and speedy recovery to Kevin Smith.
Yeah, no shit.
One of the original Podfathers, right? Kind of everyone that podcast looks up to. Hope you do better. So if you didn't hear, he had a heart attack, pretty severe one. I guess he's doing okay, but speedy recovery.
Hashtag thoughts and prayers.
On a happier note, happy birthday to Podcast Detroit social media person Emily.
It's her birthday today?
It is.
It is.
Happy birthday, Emily. I said it on Facebook. If it wasn't for Facebook, I wouldn't know anyone's birthday.
That's right. I don't always wish people a happy birthday, but when I do, it's because Facebook told me to.
So you know what's funny? I had a little bit of an argument with my 13-year-old today. She is the house mom on Facebook from 5 years ago. She's one of the ones complaining about the Snapchat updates.
It's
and the
amazing.
Snapchat changes.
It's garbage.
It's just the amount of
Stop, Randy. Shut up, Randy. Yeah, exactly.
They made a change.org petition to change it back with over 1.2 million signatures.
Right. So the amazing part was I get to drop the line on my 13-year-old to see a look on her face. And I go, sorry, the free service that you're under no obligation to use has changed and inconvenienced you ever so slightly. She's like, but Dad, it's awful. I go, you are all the house school moms complaining about it every 2 years from Facebook. You're just not on Facebook to complain about it. I go, you can't change UX like on free services. You just can't complain about it.
And the thing that really got me was that I think Kylie Jenner tweeted about it. And was like, she said something, does anyone use Snapchat anymore? It's like so disgusting. That tweet cost 6% of Snapchat's value, $1.3 billion.
Stop talking.
Yes.
I'm sorry, if your market value is tied to the Kardashian family in any way, shape, or form, you deserve to not be in business.
I'd be okay if they started listening to the IT and the D show.
I would not. I'll be honest.
No, but is it come to that point now where
I'm sorry, I'm okay with firing customers. I'm okay with not having certain listeners. I'm totally good with it.
No, but how far is that going to go? Like, and is it like, okay, now Facebook's dying because an article came out saying
Facebook's for old people.
Right.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Right. Stay off my yard.
That's right. Stay off my digital lawn, you damn kids.
well, that's what happened, right? Everyone went from Facebook to Snapchat. And now where are they going to go if no one's using Snapchat anymore?
Instagram stories.
Well, Instagram is still there.
Well,
right?
because, think about it. So, Facebook, okay, it's been 14 years now? So all the people that joined Facebook when they were in college are now adults with kids. That's how it happens. Your user base evolves.
Right. And it's funny because we had that whole talk about the whole dopamine thing, right? And the whole Facebook executives have even said, this thing is kind of trashing the social construct because all people care about now is, oh my God, I got 40 likes, and we're all hooked on it. Like,
on Instagram, I have so many followers. Twitter, weak.
No, and we all do it. We make a post and then we check it a half hour later, going, "Oh, we got likes."
No, I don't.
They say that Facebook has 2.2 billion active users monthly, but they're all older people because 2 million users under the age of 24 will leave in 2018. So basically, it's just all of our parents getting on Facebook for the first time, driving their growth. Really weird.
Bye, Felicia. I don't care.
Well, MySpace, right? And then think that was Zanga and Google blog something or another. And
what was
Blogger?
It? No, Google did. They tried Orkut, and then they tried
Google Plus.
Google Plus. Yeah,
I want Friendster to come back.
Start a petition right now on change.org.
Yeah, bring Friendster back. No, then I hear a couple people bitching.
Are you on MySpace?
They're going to.
Yeah. Your Aunt Myrna's on MySpace. Are you on MySpace? Yeah.
Think of the power of a media network with.
I googled on Aunt Myrna's MySpace.
That's right.
2 billion people. That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. But now I heard some rumblings going. I'm going to Vero.
What the hell is Vero? Why?
Vero.
What is it?
I downloaded it just because I had to see it.
I'm waiting for you to approve my connection request.
It doesn't notify me. It's one of the clunkiest apps.
Does it have a shut up Randy button? If it has a shut up Randy button, I will download it.
But it's like Facebook.
They also don't own Vero.com. It's Vero.co.
Of course.
Of course.
It's like
It's one letter shorter.
Couldn't afford the
it's
app.
easier.
No, Nuri, do you remember when the Reddit
remember when Gmail was too dumb and didn't have gmail.com?
Was vote? Everyone was going to vote.co, VOAT.
Anybody there anymore? I don't think so.
No, it
was basically a Reddit clone too. It's
exactly.
Upvote, downvote, same thing.
Right.
I don't
without the crap. Without the crap, no politics.
Man, no politics.
Yeah.
Vero's got some neat features, but their gimmick is that after 1 million users, they're going to start charging people. So they're trying to get people to swarm on early so they don't get charged.
I'm not paying.
Yeah, no,
I'm not paying for anything.
No, you're good because you're one of the first 1 million people to sign up.
No, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not.
There is no The Donald subreddit on Vote or What would you call it if it's on a subreddit?
A
A
subvote?
subvote, a downvote. I don't know.
Weak.
But one of our favorite stories we always talk about is our buddies at Boston Scientific, our robot buddies.
Boston Dynamics.
Sorry,
I'm sorry. Like, I'm starting to think Black Mirror is an even more accurate representation of the future.
That episode of the dog that chased the woman around until it was basically
is what Boston Dynamic has effing built.
Have you seen the new video with the dog that opens the door with his hand?
And they work together, and there's two of them, and they figure out how to open the door.
Not only that, like, you remember the original ones that, like, you smack it with the hockey stick, and then the one guy dubbed over the video was like, "Ow, you asshole!" Like, it was hilarious. But now they tried to recreate that with this new software, and they learned, and they got around it.
Yeah, great. Yeah, they're learning. That's amazing.
So the guy comes out like Guy Lapointe with the hockey stick, and the robot dog's like,
sorry,
"Screw
did you make a Guy Lapointe reference?
He had a hockey stick. I was thinking of hockey names.
And Guy Lapointe
is the first one. Yeah.
It's the first one. Jesus Christ.
Is that even a real hockey player? I don't know.
Well, it's Guy Lafleur.
Right. I don't know.
And Martin Lapointe.
Right.
Sort of a hybrid.
Whatever.
220, 221, whatever it takes.
That was my complaint during the World Cup. I know it's old news now, but when the French soccer team, I'm like, why can't there be one guy named Guy Lapointe on this damn soccer team?
Guy Lapointe played for the Canadiens until 1984.
See?
Yeah, that was a Lapointe.
See?
Okay.
But no, if you haven't Googled this damn thing.
And shut up,
What's
Randy.
it called, Neri? What's the video called on YouTube?
It's Testing Robustness from Boston Dynamics. And I'm playing it for the folks in the studio who haven't seen it. And like, this has been the stuff that my nightmares have been made out of all week.
It's the ones walking in the woods scared me, but the dog, the dog's worse.
Opening the damn door.
And learning how to deal with people that are, say, trying to interfere with it.
Yeah.
Because it has a little handle on it, and you pull on the handle to try to pull it away from something, and it pivots, and it learns how to deal with you to keep going towards its goal of killing all the
in front
people.
of the door to hold the door open when you're pushing on it.
Dude, this is the stuff nightmares are made out of.
It's the stuff Black Mirror episodes are made of.
But I can't stop watching.
Now all they got to do is strap a sentry gun on top of it.
Don't give them ideas.
They're drone bombing people, stroke ideas. They're already doing it.
Yeah, Black Mirror. It happened. It's already there.
While they're making Man-Bear Pig in labs in Russia.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't Russia, is it?
No, Danny.
Half man, half bear, half pig.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now here's one thing I don't get, from a creator standpoint, and work with me on this. Every time something comes out that's political, there's people that write stupid, ridiculous conspiracy theories and
Russians.
Oh my God, look at the look on his face. He must have not done it, or
he's got second set of eyelids. He's
he's a lizard.
Once had acting classes in California. He must be an actor.
Right. But there's the most
intro
ridiculous
to drama at UCLA.
There's the most ridiculous. Yeah, look up Hillary Clinton's a lizard. And how ridiculous these videos. YouTube actually came out and apologized for one of these conspiracy videos. Now, is it the response of YouTube now to police content?
Well, no. So YouTube because I don't know that they were necessarily apologizing for that video, because if you read the entire story, part of that story was how easy it is to game YouTube's algorithms to get something trending quickly. And so they were that video was just where YouTube was like, hey, this is why this shit happens. This is why we should do better with our algorithms. We're working on that. Sorry.
How can you make an algorithm though that discerns the truth? I think they said that all their sources of that video came from reputable news sources, even though I'd argue some of the sources are reputable. But how do you put that spin into machine learning? People are clicking on it, right? Clickety clicks.
Dude, they got dog bots that can open doors. they can figure something out. I'm just saying.
Woof.
Yeah, no, I not a big fan. Yeah, the whole crisis actor thing needs to go away. I'm done. No, see, I love conspiracy theories. I know you do,
and I do use them as almost like I'm watching Three Stooges, it's slapstick comedy.
Well, so you do and I do, but the problem is that people take that shit as effing gospel.
They do,
and they're too dumb to know the frickin' difference. And that's the problem, is that you think how dumb the average person on this planet is, and then you realize that that's who you're assigning as the average, and so half the people are dumber than that.
Thank you, George Carlin.
And that's who's upvoting those videos.
They have bots upvoting them in India. Who's kidding who?
I'm just saying.
They have farms for that.
Well, again, that's why it's easy to game the algorithms.
Yeah, exactly. Now, one of the stories that like creep me out, like kind of worse than not as worse than the dogs, but like guys on his property.
Oh yeah, the Texas rancher.
Yeah, and he walks around. He sees like
Walker, Texas rancher. I don't know.
And he sees like one of those deer. It's like a deer cam.
Yeah,
like,
kind of thing.
Like a hunter cam. Like
Yeah.
when, hey, motion detection.
Yeah, it was in a green plastic case. Didn't really know what it was.
So he peels the thing off of his tree. It's on his property.
Yeah,
and
takes it home,
basically,
and then starts getting phone calls.
Right, the federal government. Basically, it's theirs.
Yeah,
they put it on his property.
Hey, we want our camera back.
Right. They want it back. He says no. So the government sues him. Like, I don't know what to make of that.
Well, so it's one of those weird. Okay,
no, wasn't it watching the border? Was it?
No, it absolutely was. So
Okay.
that's part of the issue. Because and here's the weird part is, so this guy's property is actually 35 miles north of the border. And there are some, like, there's the rule, I guess, is that within like a 25-mile radius of the border,
it's actually 100 miles.
The government has
the coastline. So like the entire state of Florida is basically screwed.
And airports.
The entire
What?
state of Michigan's in it too, practically. Like 90% of the state of Michigan.
I hate people. Like they have certain, they can do things. Yeah, that some of us might find questionable.
Fourth Amendment's basically gone. Like the illegal search and seizures.
Yes.
It's pretty much because it's within a 100-mile coastline.
ACLU calls it a constitution-free zone.
Right.
Yeah. So they had gone around and put these cameras. Well, and apparently this wasn't this guy's first run-in with like the Border Patrol and the federal government. Like
they just knock on his doors like Girl Scouts and say, "Hey, sir, we're here to install your camera." And you probably go like, "Okay." Like, I'm sure he'd be fine with it.
Well, I mean, he's been a lawyer. And here's where it gets weird. Like, the guy's been a lawyer for like 50 years. He knows his shit. And so, like, his whole take on it is, nobody told him, nobody made any mention of it. They just apparently went on his property. And it's not like it was like on the edge of his property. Like, they just went and installed cameras on this guy's property and didn't tell him.
Right.
I would have an issue with that too.
Send me a letter. Just knock on my door. Like,
Yeah.
I would be happy to help you, maybe even, right?
Sure. If it's not bothering nobody and it was like way out in the outskirts of my property, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, it's
Care?
like, it's not aimed at my house.
Do I get copies of the pictures of the like Sasquatches on my yard? I want to know, Like,
Randy actually just sent out a link to the ACLU internally here, and the entire state of Florida, the entire state of Michigan, all of Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, almost the entire Northeast falls in this constitution-free zone.
That makes sense given the Atlantic Ocean and the Canadian border. Yeah.
2 out of 3 Americans live in the zone.
That's awesome.
That's incredible.
So now the one article that kind of good thing we're on.
But hey, Trump admitted he had a bald spot and he does a comb over, so it's all okay.
I have a bald spot too. Go figure. One of the ones that kind of bothered me, there's a few things. This week's weird. Congress is trying to pass a law eliminating, like we ran message forums since the day one. What's your thoughts? So no, hold on.
So that actually got clarified. But go ahead.
They're trying to eliminate or remove protections of site owners based on what people post on the site. Like when we had a message forum, like if somebody wrote something like ridiculous or
as a
threatening.
website owner, you are not legally responsible for the content that other people post on your website.
So Congress put a bill out basically removing those protections. Go ahead.
So that actually got clarified. That actually wasn't what it was saying, and they've since clarified the bill. So that is not what's going on with that.
No wonder why nobody knows what the hell going on in government.
Well, yeah,
you read stuff and it's like, no, it's not that.
Right. So that was like an early draft of something that somebody leaked on Reddit or that somebody posted on Reddit, and that wasn't actually what it was. So yeah, no, it's I'm trying to remember what it was. It's the
it has to do with reckless disregard of postings that are illegal that contribute to sex trafficking or sexual abuse.
Right. So yeah, there's that's that. So and I can't for the life of me remember the legislation that actually has the protections in it. It's not DREAM, it's not DACA. It was some acronym like that, but whatever. But no, so
Not the DMCA?
No, it's not the YMCA either. Oh yeah, no. So I mean, honestly, so it was one of those things where like,
oh my God, it'd be hilarious for Weird Al there. The DMCA.
MCA, yeah.
Your content's taken down. Right.
No, so I mean, it's there for a reason. I mean, because that's the whole point. I mean, if you think about it, look at all the bullshit that goes on. Every time the Free Press or News posts an article, and the shit that evolves in the comment section of those posts.
Oh, putrid.
So I mean, that's like saying the Free Press is now responsible to police all those.
Which is in the beginning of the way it was early.
Yeah, actually, it was part of the DMCA, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. That's exactly what it was. So that's thank you, Nuri. So that was
my own collar.
Yeah, that was the whole point, was that like as a site owner you have protections. Now, because it was part of the DMCA, part of that protection was, look, if somebody's posting copyrighted works on your website and you receive a notice of that as the hosting company, yes, you have to pull that down. That's part of it.
But this bill says reckless disregard, though. And so reckless disregard is not just, whatever it's up, right? Because I think there's different levels of disregard, and it's more than just negligent.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a reckless disregard, that means you're basically probably profiting for it
or you've
directly
been
contributing to it.
or you've been notified and have taken no action.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the best written or the best headline of the week.
China?
Yeah.
Please tell me it's China.
China cracks down on funeral strippers.
I think that's amazing.
Dude, I want strippers at my funerals.
So apparently China is cracking down on the practice.
Hey, Grandpa died. Go call up 1-800-STRIPPER. Like, what in the world's going on here?
Yeah, families in rural areas are apparently hiring strippers to come to the funerals to get more people to show up.
What?
Yeah, that's the entire premise of it, is that they want, because it's a pride thing when more people come to your funeral, because it shows respect for the family, and who doesn't think respect for the family with a lap dance?
Isn't it like open bar at like the VFW afterwards, like normal funerals?
No, apparently no strippers. That's
Wow.
how they pack them in.
I'm gonna rewrite my will.
What I love is how the state media described it. They said the crowd is pushed to climax.
No,
I don't think they mean it the same way.
Nah,
but
it's not.
it's so good.
Figurative, not literal.
So good.
Disgusting.
So I am curious on your take on this, because it's something we've talked about a few times on the show. So word came out that Georgia has raked in $9.5 billion
Made in Georgia.
Dude, and that's friggin' everywhere.
That gives them a 10% discount. That's actually a 10%.
It's like if you add that
incentive.
little thing, it's another 10%. Yeah, good for them, man. So $9.5 billion that Georgia's pulled in from the movie and TV industry. I still say Michigan screwed up, dude.
No. So do you remember how it was written in Michigan? Do you remember? I remember. Do you remember?
Yeah.
It was not. So Georgia's written it's a 20% tax cut.
Yep.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Michigan was a subsidy, so you would physically get a. Hold on. So indie filmmakers were coming in to Michigan filming shit, right? And then they were getting like 6-figure checks from the government because they went through that process. It wasn't like Batman versus Superman.
So Michigan screwed up by not crafting the law properly.
by not writing the law
Right.
properly. Correct. It was written as a subsidy, not as a tax break.
Yeah.
And if it was written as a tax break, all day, because it's free money, and then it's business development. It's just like bringing a Super Bowl here, right? It's just another economic growth.
When did we get rid of that? When did all the film industries leave Michigan?
3 years ago.
But I thought it was like Snyder's second year or something. That was like one of the first things. He's like, wait, we're writing checks?
Well, because it was still going on when we were at the Russell, and that's 5 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
And so, but it was done, I think, by the time we were.
They grandfathered a few in.
Yeah, so it's like, I want to say like 3 years ago. Yeah.
Right.
Because the article said that Georgia went from $240 million in 2007 to its $9.5 billion, and 92,000 people work in jobs with ties to the entertainment industry. Like, I don't think they messed up.
It was Michigan Public Act.
Oh, no, I don't know. Like I said, I don't.
Georgia's doing it right.
No. Michigan messed up.
Oh, yeah, totally. All day long.
That's my Michigan messed up.
Michigan wrote a bad law in the beginning. They did it too aggressive instead of just saying it was a tax break. They wrote. What were you saying, Randy?
It was Michigan Public Act 117 of 2015.
Yes,
So
3 years ago.
yeah.
Want to hear some fun anecdotes? That's why I moved to Michigan, actually. That law in particular. I moved my entire company here for that. And so we came here, and I have a video game company, and we make games. And excuse me, we were featured in the first year in Granholm's annual review or whatever it is as a huge success story of this tax incentive. We moved all my employees and blah, blah, blah. And we got to go. And so I submitted my first, whatever you call it, the paperwork you have to submit to collect on such legislation. And they're like, no, you're not going to get it. And I was like, huh? What? Like, you told me to come here and everything, and I worked with the governor's office.
Yeah.
I worked, you name it. Like, no, we're not going to pay you. I'm like, what? 3.5-year lawsuit with the state. We won multiple times at each level. Each time the state would deny us an appeal. We'd have to go back. We go to the appellate level. We won again. I testified in front of Congress at least half a dozen times. And each time I met with all of our wonderful senators and congresspeople and said, did you have any, were there any benchmarks of this legislation? Because they're like, it's too much money. It's too much money. So did you have any benchmarks when you made this law of how to measure success?
Yeah.
Dead silence. Oh, dead silence. I'm like, so you just made this law. You left an open checkbook.
Yeah.
Regardless of how much is cut off.
Well, apparently not an open checkbook.
Oh, yeah. Tell me that. So, yeah, absolutely destroyed my life for a couple years. It was fascinating. Yeah. Sorry, I had to jump in on that. It was absolute nightmare.
So back to Michigan screwed up. Yeah.
Right. Again, if they would have just made it normal, like, I live off Uptake. I got to stare at that studio set, the big giant 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, whatever. Yep. I don't want to say it's an eyesore because it's across from a big golf or soccer dome, so it's not like it's not like it's that big of a deal. But still, those things got built for that, and that are being not used now.
Yeah.
So, hey, speaking of that, was Than talking. Speaking of that, we're going to come back with Neil and Than from the High Score eSports. This is the IT and the D show,
and we'll be right back.
IT in the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit, one beer at a time.
Hey, this is John Schneider from Nip Tuck Smallville, the haves and the have-nots. Oh, Dr. Quinn, Hot in Cleveland, Secret Lives of the American Teenager, and just about everything you can possibly imagine. And oh yeah, the Dukes of Hazzard. You're listening to Bob and Dave. It's the IT in the D show.
ITinthed.com.
Welcome back. Segment 2, episode 236 of the one and only IT in the D show. We're sitting here live in Studio One, Podcast Detroit, in beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. Bob, the sales guy. Dave, the geek. Nuri, the FNG. Randy, I do the Twitter's walker. Find us online, itinthed.com, because we are IT in the D. And
you still aren't.
Blowing kisses, muy, muy. We love you. We love you so much.
Right. Hope that aneurysm's kicking in right
I want to give you a nice big hug. But hey, if you are a business owner, things like email and software ought to be easy, right? Well, if you have Dave, there it is, but otherwise it's not. Not something you have to spend your days thinking about it, and you don't have to worry about hackers and spammers infecting your system, stealing your data, or holding it hostage. That's what makes AppRiver a great choice. It's AppRiver. AppRiver. Especially for companies that don't have an IT department. For small and mid-sized businesses, AppRiver can be your IT team, or at least free up your computer nerds to do things that actually make you money. With AppRiver, you can get email, spam, virus filtering, email encryption, archiving, and compliance solutions. They can secure email on your servers or just handle it for you with Office 365 or Hosted Exchange. Nice tie-in with Microsoft. Their services are all cloud-based, so you pay a subscription instead of buying hardware, software, or licenses. Try any of their services for free. Cancel anytime. And know their U.S.-based phenomenal care is available all day, every day. Want to make every day. Want to make IT easy? Do us a favor. Visit appriver.com/IT in the D and try any of their services for free. That's appriver.com/IT in the D.
Woo!
Exactly. So, hey, we are joined by a very good friends of ours, and the guy that was complaining about the why he was in Michigan. I'm just kidding. Neil and Than are in the house. They are the owners and managers and proprietors of the High Score eSports. Gentlemen, how are you?
Excellent. Thank you for having us.
Hello.
Neil, is this the first time you've been on the air with us?
Second time.
Yeah, as I say, way back in the day when we were over at the Ferndale studio.
No.
Yeah. Even here,
you're at the Russell?
No, that's why. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. You were. Yeah.
It's like, I'm never coming here again.
Well, welcome. I guess for those not familiar with the high score, give us a quick overview and let's dive into what you guys are doing.
Yeah, so we are a competitive gaming venue. Video games competitively, right? So like take the traditional model of what our dads did. They went out to dart night. Well, that's what we did. We went out to dart night or bowling night, but we're doing that for video games. Pick your favorite genre, fighting games, shooters, strategy games, and you come out and compete with some of the top players in the region for cash and prizes and all sorts of good stuff.
So, I mean, we've been there many times. I've had my kids' parties there. I've had adult parties there. I mean, you guys have PC gaming, consoles. You have some old school Atari stuff for like me and Dave to play joust, tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
You have a little bar. I mean, it's a pretty cool little space. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
But I mean,
well, thank you.
No, what was the,
Hashtag suck up.
Yeah, I know, right? No, I like it. I can be a fanboy.
Party.
No, but I like the story on how it got started. Neil, I mean, this was kind of your brainchild from a long time ago. I guess talk to us about how this thing came to be.
Yeah. So, I mean, the original concept was a man cave, right? We had an IT company. We needed to blow off some steam. So we brought in consoles and PCs and played video games on off time. And then we invited friends over, and then they said, "Hey, this is really cool. Can I have my son's birthday party here?" And we said, "Oh, well, okay, I guess so."
I feel like this is how the podcast network started.
So what you're saying is friends ruin all good things.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's right. Well, they turned it into monetizing all good things, which I guess is not a bad thing at the end of the day. But so we kind of grew it out in our space in Novi, and then brought it to Ferndale, and it got bigger, and then we built a pretty kick-ass little lounge on Hilton there, and it is what it is today. And brought Than in about a year ago now, a little over a year.
A little over a year, yeah.
Because he had this, thing with Michigan.
Debacle with the state of
Right.
Michigan. Yeah.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I've never been to Michigan in my life before I moved here, but I absolutely love it. My family loves it. I absolutely love it. I've met so many incredible, wonderful people up here, and I'm so happy I moved here. Outside of all of the incredible nonsense.
No, that's what you find out. Like a lot of the
Pure
pro,
Michigan.
yeah, like a lot of the pro athletes that like get here, they don't leave because it's like,
it's
yeah,
incredible.
Oakland County, like the city now is getting to be great, and that's the thing now. It's like, you're getting competition now, something like you didn't have for like the last 3 years. Like this is starting to be a thing. Like as soon as I saw like eSports, like people playing like Battlefield on WTBS on cable at like midnight, I go,
right.
Oh my God. Like
why did you have TBS on at midnight?
It's flipping the guide. No. When you do the guide and you see like the eSports, I'm like, what the heck is this?
Right.
And I was like, is it finally validated where this is like a thing?
Esports online viewership outdoes the NFL on a weekly basis.
Really?
Yeah.
Big numbers, big money.
That's when it's justified.
Billions of dollars.
Right. Yeah. Well, I know we saw like a stat, like, so let's break down that stat. Cause I know there was we talked about it on the podcast once. Like, didn't Snowpocalypse outdraw the Super Bowl, like on Snapchat over like a 24-hour period? Right. But like, so what are some of the, like, so is this over like a 24-hour period? Is this like it's on demand watching, right?
Yeah. Well, there is a live component without a doubt, but everything is canned as well, similar to the podcast in that regard. So you have a live component, which people can tune in and watch, and we're live broadcasting from the lounge right now. But then there's also, it's a canned component where you can go back and refer to it and see.
Bob loves it in the can. We've had this discussion before.
But I think the one thing that's fascinating,
nothing wrong with the canned component,
is the what I love personally is like, I'm an old man, and like I'm no longer a competitive athlete or anything else, but video games still gives you the opportunity to compete against other people in something, even though it might be you and your buddy on the couch, or like at our place we have some of the top players in the world. The opportunity to sit down and compete against someone in something in a real-time physical event. Granted, it's just thumbs and fingers, but it's a fascinating experience. It's something that is an emerging market that is people tune into, and it's no different than watching a professional sport on television. You're only sitting there watching them. You're watching Tom Brady or watching LeBron. Same thing, but now you're watching these fighters or these shooters or these strategy guys use their brains.
Well, so I guess that, like, taking a step back, so like explain to people what esports is and why that's become a thing.
Sure. So take a game in its core concept, right? In particular, a video game. It is you start off and you don't know anything. You go through the tutorial, you start to level up, you start to gain attributes, and by the end, you are a master. And so these guys and gals that we see playing esports and professional gaming are the masters of those games. And you have all these genres, just like
they're the guys you hate to run up against when you're playing online.
They make you so mad. It's so mad.
It was like
right?
for me. It was like playing Madden against Mark as an early 20-year-old.
No cheat codes.
He knew every glitch. Like, I hate it. Hockey was even worse.
It's incredibly frustrating. But at the same time, it's like, wow, hey, don't get me wrong. Some people are like, oh, it's video games or whatever. But these individuals have chosen to master their particular hobby. And they do it at such an exceptional level that they get paid to do it. And it's fascinating to watch these guys go head to head. And there's tons of smack talk and there's tons of social media back and forth. And then when they sit down and go at it and you have an entire room, fighting has been one of our specialties. We do a handful of fighting games every Monday. We have something called Detroit Player Series, which is essentially the hunt for the best fighters within the region between Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. And we run it every 3 months. And we get these guys and gals that come in and fight some of the best players in the world. And it's just like a professional boxing match or an MMA match. These guys go at it and the whole place is dead silent. You see 2 meters going down and down and down. You see their characters on all these screens and then there's a knockout and the place just erupts. It blows your mind.
So I'm not going to lie. I went to one and I'm sitting there with Neil and like right as the night's getting started and I'm like, dude, what the hell?
What is this?
Like what is this?
It's video games.
A couple of drinks and then more and more people are showing up. And then more and more people are showing up. And then more and more people are showing up. Mm-hmm. And I never in a million years did I think I would ever use the phrase, and then the crowd energy started to build.
To climax?
When it came to video games.
No slippers this time.
I don't know. I know Neil's got black lights in there. You never know. But no, I mean, people really, really got into it.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering about that because you said it's like watching professional sports on TV.
Yeah.
And you can't be in a bar with a big game going on without people yelling at the TVs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So do people sit there and yell at the gamers?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Right now, our place is louder than you can imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like you leave and your ears are ringing loud.
Oh, every day. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wow.
See, I didn't know that. I didn't think this was a thing. And we always mocked our kids. Like, why are you watching Minecraft videos and why are you watching this? Then I found myself watching like Battlefield 4 videos with the Scottish guy, Ozzy, like sniping people from jet planes, laughing my ass off.
Transfixed. Yeah,
going, God, this is, and I found myself watching more. And like every game I played, I'm watching more. And it's like, God, this is like, I don't want to say it passed me by because I'm kind of right in the fix of it. I still game at least 4 or 5 days a week, but it's entertaining as hell watching this crap on YouTube and on Twitch. And
yeah, you combine a good game with a good personality and it's incredible content without a doubt.
Oh, did you ever see that guy? His name's Ozzy.
Yeah, God, absolutely. Incredible shooter player and incredibly talented, just personality.
Oh, it's hysterical. Like just the laugh is just so, but again, it's like, my daughter wants to do all YouTube and she wants to be a podcaster, wants to do and like webcomics, and she's like, I need a Twitch channel. I go, but you and everyone else has a Twitch channel.
That's tricky, right? Yeah,
that's when I found out those people were getting monetized and like people were making money, like then it went over my head because I was like, are you kidding me? Like, what does that take to be have a Twitch following like that?
Yeah, I mean, the comment, I think it's less gamer talent and more personality in that regard. That's what draws. But our players, high score is based on finding the best. But also that doesn't mean we don't frown on new players or people that aren't as good. It's about trying to achieve your own personal best, right? Like you come to compete, you come to test yourself each week. You come to see how far you can drive yourself.
Now, are you signing people? You said
we don't. We deal. We have a handful of pro teams that come in. We have pro CEOs that come in. We have all these people. We don't own a pro esports team. We don't want to get in that business.
Well, because we learned about the pinball thing, and they have these weekly, tournaments, and they all chip in a buck, and that buck goes to the yearly tournament.
Oh yeah. Right. Take a buck and multiply it by about 1 million, and that's the pots you're dealing with in the esports.
Oh my God.
It's big money. Big money. Just a couple days ago, there's a major every month, that have $250,000 pots.
Well, we saw the Clash Royale tournament. I think it was in England. Randy, I don't know if you followed up on that or not. Tickets were $200 to get in. And I'm like, oh my God. And it was sold out.
Finals across the world pack 30,000, 40,000 seat arenas. Staples Center sells out every year.
Does it really?
Yeah, absolutely. All the major Korean events do big numbers. And then you translate into online Twitch streaming, and that's where you see huge revenue. I mean, Amazon bought Twitch for a reason.
Right. Well, I remember like when I was in Tokyo, this was like what 06, 07, maybe earlier. I was there a few times, but like the conversations were always like, "Hey, what you have like their budget, their monthly budget, like their electronics budget or gaming budget or app budget was as much as their car note."
Yeah,
like that's what they had in their budget. Like they would tailor back like their way of living for their electronics budget. We're doing like $400, $500, $600, $700 a month.
Well, I mean, really, it's and I think all of us can relate. It's a whole nother level of fandom that we've never seen before. This broad stroke connectivity that brings fandom and games and streaming and all these components together. That's creating this multi-billion-dollar boom across the globe, and it's fascinating. And we're thrilled to be right in the middle of it. It's a blast.
Now, what are some of the top? Like, obviously, it was Rocket League. We see, the shooting games. Some of them pass me by. Some of them I know. What are Madden? Obviously, what else is like being looked at as like, hey, this is a because me, I play an open world. Typically, I'm not in a multiplayer. Once in a while, I'm on Battlefront 2 now.
Sure.
Is that made it, or I guess what are some of the top?
Battlefront not as competitive. We specialize currently in fighting games. We found a real niche in that. It turns out that Michigan is a huge hotspot for fighting game talent. We have multiple pro signed players right in the region, and we kind of we've been capitalizing and enjoying that. There's some incredible players locally. The games that we grew up with, Street Fighter, Tekken.
I was gonna say Street Fighter 2 on the N64, like
just like that. Street Fighter 5 is the most recent edition.
Pod racing. The pod racer game I'm in.
Yeah. So, I mean, just like pro sports, right? Like you have basketball, hockey, and MLB. You have your majors, same as games. You have your fighting genre, your shooter genre, your strategy genre. Essentially cover all those majors.
So how much shot does a button masher have to take on one of these pro guys?
Absolutely zero.
Zero? Yeah.
None whatsoever.
Yeah, I've tried.
So I can't do like the Honda palm strike like 1,000 times.
I wish you
get him stuck in the corner.
So bad. Yeah.
So weird question. When are we going to move to fantasy esports? Or do those already exist?
That's coming. Absolutely.
I think you're talking like Skyrim-ish?
No.
Fantasy football, like fantasy football.
There's a couple companies. There's a couple companies that are pushing it quite hard.
Holy shit.
But I mean, you have there is go back 3 or 4 years when esports was a new word and you had a handful of $1 million players. Right now you have a lot of $1 million teams. And then you look at NBA is launching their pro esports team this year. So every NBA team right now, the Cavs, you name it, the Pistons all have esports teams that they own. And they're launching a whole NBA franchise. At least half of all NFL owners own 2 professional esports teams. The biggest ones out of the gate were Dallas Cowboys guy,
Jerry Jones.
Thank you, Jerry Jones. Bob Kraft, New England Patriots. Mr. Gilbert, right here down the street, owns multiple esports teams. This is one of the largest emerging markets that currently exists by far in regards to live entertainment online.
Dude, I'm just dumbfounded.
Big money
blown.
Big money.
Again, it was kind of like when we interviewed like the pinball. Like I know we did it yesterday. Yeah, who knew? Like, I didn't know that, or we talked to him. We're like, this is a thing. Like I get like they had leagues, but I'm like, God, and that's what you guys are bringing to like now. Okay, we're gonna have like Wednesday. I think this replaced bowling. Like it really did. Like when we were 22, I went bowling. Like I played, and now it's like
our place and play video games. Absolutely. Yep.
Before it was just like I'm gonna go over to Mark's house and bring over a pizza. And we're going to, argue and play WrestleFest or whatever the wrestling game is. WCW versus NWO and argue all day. Like, no, not that move. You know.
Well, a perfect example, right here in Detroit this Thursday, we are, co-hosting with, Gamer Saloon, which is another local company that is online betting in video games where we can challenge each other.
Stop.
You put down $5. Yeah. I put down $5. We play. I win. If I win, I get 10. If you win, you get 10. But we're doing a $10,000 NBA tournament at Little Caesars Arena this Thursday.
Stop.
So come on down if you got a shot. Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, at Little Caesars Arena?
You got it. Absolutely.
So it's going to be like up on the Jumbotron?
Well, we're not on the court, but we are up. We got this whole big side venue.
Gotcha. Okay.
The Horizon Basketball League tournament is this weekend.
Okay.
And we are opening the tournament with an NBA 2K tournament, which is the NBA video game.
Right.
$10,000 tournament between 60 of the top players that qualified over the past week in online qualifiers. And it'll be streamed online on High Score Esports. And Yeah, all that good stuff.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And that's relatively small in regards to prize pools for esports tournaments, without a doubt. But it's one of the biggest ones Detroit has ever seen. So
you see like a 20-year-old kid, like, 20 grand, I ain't getting up for that. Like, stupid prize money. Like,
right. Playing a video game. Again, we're doing it wrong, Bob.
Seriously. Grew up in the wrong genre.
Right.
You don't even have to really break a sweat. That's the best part about it. Right?
Yeah.
You're risking a sprained thumb.
Oh, man.
See, now, if it was like laying back, like a Nintendo, like a 16, like the Super Nintendo wireless controller hooked through the stereo, laying on a waterbed, I would win every tournament ever. Like,
you just immediately go back into the zone.
I would like channel my inner 14-year-old. I kill you all.
Hey, we have right down the street, actually, the world's the best esports doctor in the world lives right here in Royal Oak. He's also CEO.
Doctor.
He's also CEO.
Dr. Mario? What is an esports doctor?
The biggest fighting game pro team in the world.
What's an esports doctor?
He is a doctor. He's a physician.
Okay.
He has his own private practice. He's also CEO of one of the most predominant fighting game esports teams in the world as well.
So he treats thumb injuries?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, that's a
when,
thing?
When we're talking about billions of dollars, these guys are athletes. They are treated as such. They are groomed.
They do stretches and like before this?
Yeah. Without a doubt.
It's billions of dollars.
Little thumb wrestling to warm up.
Right? I mean,
from mental, physical, diet, exercise, sleep. I mean, these guys
diet, what, pizza and cheeseburgers?
I'm like,
no.
Cheetos and Jolts? Like that's
but I mean, hey, if there's there's a $4 or $5 million prize on the line, these guys, I mean, they are high end machines. The top line stuff,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
No, it's not like the cart. Like I envision Cartman yelling for his mom. To
World
come
of
bring
Warcraft.
Hot pockets. Yeah. Bring the bucket. I got to poo.
Well, it's fascinating because we're in the transition of that right now, and the top athletes who are making the millions of dollars, they treat it as such, and then there's everyone else,
right?
And that's why these guys and gals are able to elevate themselves to this insane level of performance, where. Yeah, don't get me wrong. It's just button pressing and it's muscle memory and it's memorization and strategy. But they do it at such an insane level that it's $1 billion industry. It's fascinating.
So aside from the esports, are you still doing the rentals?
Yeah, we still do rentals. Absolutely. We do private parties. We do, we've had a blast with corporate stuff. We've done a whole bunch of fun stuff. It's a great space where people can come in, especially some younger kids and stuff, the gamers. They can play where the top players in the world play. They can rent out the space for their birthday party and bring in all their buddies. And
is there a Mario Kart tournament? I would totally get in the Mario Kart tournament.
Yeah, we should do it. I mean, it would be casual. There's no pro Mario level scene, but that's the game.
You can
raw
make
competition.
I was the best Mario Kart guy
discrimination.
until they introduced drifting, and now I suck. Like I went the Mario Kart before it went to drifting.
Before Tokyo Drift?
Yes. Like someone thought that that'd be a good idea to drift in Mario Kart and ruin the game.
Yeah. That's kind of rough.
I know, right? I will make the Mario Kart tournament.
All right.
I'll kill all you kids. And then
you heard it here first.
Yeah,
right. And then Tony Hawk
The Detroit
PlayStation
Mario Kart
2. I will do another tournament for that.
You get a patch.
Yes.
Be the first one to get a
patch for Tony Hawk.
Crash Bandicoot tournament.
You bought Crash Bandicoot?
I loved Crash Bandicoot.
But think of like all the games you guys are bringing up that you grew up playing. Can you imagine if you could go back to yourself at that stage and say, "Oh man, I'm going to be a pro player
and make money doing that."
Yes,
Right.
It's amazing.
I had to go work at Little Caesars. I got to sit on a waterbed.
Crappy movie with the Nintendo Power Glove.
Oh,
that wasn't crappy. Come on,
it was a horrible movie. That was
Fred Savage.
Yes,
it was so good.
Horrible movie.
Room divided.
Think how far we've come since Lawnmower Man.
Oh yeah, good old Joe.
Is that making a way into esports VR? Or is that
VR does have its own esports component. There's a particular one called VR E-League that some corporation's spending a ton of money on.
I don't think the games are there yet. Am I wrong?
Yeah, well, the games are there. The install base isn't there.
Yeah,
right.
Well, in the experience for the spectator isn't there.
Well, they watch the screen though, right?
But it's difficult. I've watched it and I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Are floating through this room trying to throw a ball, and I'm going, okay, it's hard to follow. You don't really get the same experience.
Can't we just go back to hitting people?
First person view is intended to be
Real
in
life.
VR.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't translate.
But in 10 years from now,
Yeah.
Well,
you're
who
gonna be
knows?
sitting there
right?
watching it with
Probably
a VR
gonna be
headset.
a dominant component. Yeah.
So when does esports take over? I mean, money wise, when does it take over? Like one of the big 6 sports if you count like golf and
it definitely beats golf already. It definitely beats hockey already.
Seriously?
Oh yeah. It's probably infringing on baseball right now. I would say honestly, probably NFL is the only
infringing
one
on baseball. There's guys with like almost $1 billion contracts. It's infringing on
I'm
baseball.
sorry, I'm talking in regards to viewership and
all
advertising.
right.
Yeah.
Fine.
Not player wise.
Yeah. Well, I was
That's part of the
revenue.
problem with the esports thing is that the players themselves really don't have as much of a following. I mean, they do. They have a lot of followers, but
Is it
you
po-
don't get into it. I'm like, I'm not going to wear, Kim Yang's shirt.
Was it possible? Is it possible though?
though?
Is it possible for an esports player to be like a Tom Brady, or just completely untouchable, like god of that whatever particular
Absolutely.
game
For a year
Absolutely.
or two.
For you, that's
Okay.
the
All right.
window's much
Yeah.
shorter.
What changes
right now?
Age.
Okay.
I mean, literally, the window is so small that you have the reflexes and the mental agility to excel in a 2 to 3 year window.
It's like this edition of
once
esports.
you're 30, you're done.
Is
You're
sponsored.
in the senior league at that point, by far.
Where are they now?
Way in the
This
senior
esports tournament is sponsored by Adderall
and cocaine.
All right. So where do we find out more about high?
Yeah, absolutely. HighScoreEsports.com. If you want to watch any of our live feeds, the best bet is tune in on Monday nights for our Detroit Player Series that runs from 8:30 till midnight every Monday at twitch.tv/HighScoreEsports and HighScoreEsports 2. We have 2 channels that we run. Definitely follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We just changed it. So Facebook is High Score Esports and Twitter is
Still High Score.
High Score Lounge. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Daniel, appreciate the time. Look forward to seeing you at the lounge soon.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break. Speaking of lounging, we're going to take a quick break. Be back with Brad and Sean from Zing Media. This is the IT and the D Show.
And we'll be right back.
IT and the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit. One beer at a time.
Hi, I'm Brittany Daniel from The Game, and you're listening to IT and the D Show.
ITinthed.com.
Welcome back. This is segment, is it 3? This is the one and only IT and the D Show, episode 236, broadcasting live here in Studio One, Podcast Detroit, beautiful Royal Oak, Michigan. Bob, the sales guy, hanging out with Dave the Geek, Nuri, the FNG. Are we going to change that, Nuri, or are you always going to be the FNG?
You know, at some point, I shouldn't be the FNG anymore.
You're always friendly, though, so I don't want to change, I'm just saying. Randy, I do the Twitters, Walkers in studio. Find us online, itandthed.com, and do us a favor. Check the Meet tab on the site and subscribe to us so you can follow us where we are because we have way too many meetups and we need to stop that.
Yeah, we got to get the podcaster meetups and our meetups. Dude, we got to get...
It was an excuse early on when we started this whole mess.
Career Academy
if you
stuff.
never heard, it was an excuse to have a drink, and now it's just where we have problems.
We screwed that all up. We're morons.
It's all right.
Hey, so we've all come to expect that distributed databases can't be both globally consistent and scalable, but what if you didn't have to make trade-offs? What if you could have a fully managed database service that's consistent, scales horizontally across data centers, and speaks SQL? Introducing Cloud Spanner, a mission-critical relational database service from Google Cloud Platform, built from the ground up and battle-tested at Google for strong consistency and high availability at a global scale. Click to learn more about Cloud Spanner. Visit g.co/getspanner. That's g.co/GETSPANNER.
So speaking of relational databases, we got Brad and Sean here from Zing Media. Gentlemen, how you doing?
There it is.
There's the bad segue we've been waiting for.
I like it. What the hell is a relational database?
Gentlemen, how we doing? Thanks for coming to the office.
Thanks for having us.
Feels like we only saw you like 2 days ago. It's crazy.
It was fun.
So Zing Media, I know you're an old pro. We'll get into that in a minute, Brad. But like Zing Media, what are you guys doing every day?
We basically are kind of challenging the status quo for businesses with regard to marketing and media, and we kind of fancy ourselves a new media company, if you will. Based kind of like what these guys are saying, the ubiquity of users using mobile and digital and the adoption of consumers has changed business across all platforms. So we're kind of the guys you go to when you can't figure out what the hell to do with your business or your brand or if you're a publisher. Or if
So
you're a media
us.
player. So, well, no.
Right. Well, you came from quote unquote traditional media, And I mean, you've been with the biggest of companies on the biggest accounts. What's been that pivot point? Has it been in the last couple of years, the last 10 years? It is always changing.
I think connectivity. So I was part, broadcast, but after broadcast, if you go into the cable world from the very beginning, Sean and I both in the cable space, we connected everybody. And in comparisons to the numbers you guys talked about earlier, Matt, it took Comcast 40 years to get to 40 million subscribers. 40 years. And the business behind that of creation of content, like you're talking about, and consumption by consumers, all these multi-billion-dollar businesses. So imagine an adoption rate of 2 billion users. Businesses can't catch up, and they're way behind. And if they're behind now, they're going to kind of be devastated in a couple of years. We see that with, retail businesses closing, e-commerce businesses changing, consumption of media, the NFL and golf and that being attacked by gamers, ad money shifting. So we kind of try to make sense out of that whole world for our clients, whether it's a small business or a big brand.
Well, you talked about it in segment 1. You brought up that interesting point with Kylie Jenner, whatever the heck her name is, and you were like, she's an influencer, and I go,
sorry, is that the Asian Kylie Jenner?
Kyrie, I don't know what her name is. Kylie, but you were like, she's an influencer, and I go, me personally, I don't put any weight to it, but apparently some people do. I guess talk to us about how powerful. Her just dropping, I know Oprah, I've heard the stories, hey, buy this book and 1 million books get sold. But it kind of past my knowing about the Jenners and these people. Talk to me about the power of influencers these days.
Yeah, these guys have amazing power, whether they're gamers or influencers on YouTube. There are YouTube guys that are generating, and making $11-12 million a year. They have influence over 40 million followers. And when a brand wants to have their brand talked about, the influencer is far better than, a cable network, a successful cable network now with a successful show doesn't have an audience as large as some of these influencers. So, you can take all the networks combined and the ratings and prime time, and they don't equal the size of an influencer audience. So there's this kind of little world, this hidden world of digital influencers that are changing the game forever.
Well, we got mind blown. Kim Kardashian would get paid, I don't know how much to tweet something.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars. And we're like, wait, what?
I'll do it for tens of thousands of dollars.
I'll do it for $20. I'll tweet whatever you want.
Yeah, we'll do it for beer.
Right. It just totally mind boggling. This, how did they discover that that's a thing? Are they going, hey, did they test market it? And then someone did something and they're like, hey, we just sold out. And then now we want to double down.
Just, we developed a process that we called 4 C's. So community, build a big community, connect it to the right people, create the right content to engage people, and then monetize the hell out of it with commerce. So,
all right, well,
we
got 3.
Yeah, exactly. The last one, no.
But if you think about it, if you take a platform, and there's no guesswork. When you have 1 million people following you on a platform, you got 1 million people, and then the friends of those people being a couple hundred each. So you got potentially an influencer can reach 200 million people with an influence compared. And now I'm going to go to a network television and pay $500,000 for a 30-second commercial that nobody's watching in a commercial block of 5 commercials. Or I can go to Sean, the influencer over here, and have the message endorsed directly to 200 million people. So the economics just don't make sense. And you're seeing it. Advertising is shifting dramatically. TV's in big trouble.
Well, what we're seeing now, at least in all these traditional media worlds, these radio worlds, these TV worlds, the TV's trying to get into YouTube and the radio's trying to get into podcasting, and no one's buying.
Yeah.
That's what we're finding out. All these traditional print and radio, they're launching these.
That's the new cool thing. We should do the new cool thing.
Yeah. 10 years later.
But we'll do it the same way we do everything now, so we'll continue to suck and fail.
Yeah. Well, I was in Philadelphia at Comcast Corporate. I remember talking to the Philly Inquirer, and we said, Zing. We said to these guys early on, hey, you know what? The classifieds, we can put them online. Let's do a deal together. Let's work together. Nah, we're the kings of the classifieds. We make $100 million on classified ads. Within 2 years, they were out of the classified business completely.
#Craigslist.
Gone. Exactly.
Right.
Hey, can we put those online now? That'd be great.
Yeah, can we do that?
Can we do that?
Too bad.
You see it with podcasts, certainly with podcasts, right?
Yeah.
If you're smart now, it's podcasts to build up. You can't lie about your followers. You have followers or you don't.
Yeah, no, they're verified at all the places now.
That's right.
Well, that's the thing with YouTube. You can see, And that's the crazy thing. Like this person, like we watch like the duck song. Do you ever hear the stupid duck song? My 4-year-old loves it. Like I got duck lemonade, blah, blah, blah. Like I think it's got like 200 million plays or something. Like God, I go. That's what I told Gretchen. I go, will you put some cartoons on YouTube? And, like for crying out loud. But it's
nice. Put pressure on your 13-year-old. Why aren't you that good? That'd be
right.
Great.
Exactly.
Why don't you have 200 million?
No, she's dropped it on me today. Like, you know what the most viewed video is?
Gangnam Style.
No, it's like number 5 or something. It's that, like, is it Havana Ula? Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's one of those. What, like oh my, it's got like billions.
It's because everybody goes there to rip the song.
Right. But if you get 1 billion views, you know how much money they just made on YouTube ads?
Yeah,
like, I'm just saying, it doesn't matter. Rip the song. Don't buy it. Watch that 30-second Valtrex ad before it. And, you know, like, have my song. See, whatever works.
Well, to the point, I mean, everything's gone on demand. Everything's gone on demand. People want it when they want it.
Yeah.
And so people are cutting the cord with TV. They're watching videos. They're watching music. One of the crazy stats I just saw with Facebook, 20% of all mobile minutes are spent on a Facebook app. One platform, 20% of all mobile time spent accessing that app. The numbers don't lie. Advertisers are basically going after those numbers because that's where people are at.
And it's all those T-shirts and all the crap I buy all the time.
Damn it!
I'm such a sucker. I ruined your Facebook experience because I keep buying all that crap they put, like a Flash Gordon T-shirt. How did you know I wanted to buy that? Like, and then it shows up on my doorstep 2 days later. Like,
our big model is not shocking. If you're a business of any kind, you should have every one of these platforms, and you should act like a media company. You know, you should have a YouTube channel. You should be producing video. You should have communities on every one of these platforms. You should be creating content. And you can imagine, you know, that's not what every business owner thinks. Like, hey, I'm making pizzas in the back room here. But if you don't figure out how to create your own media kind of empire for your business, no matter what size you are, a couple of years from now, watch out.
But you need to be careful about it because what we talked about, like, we talked about on the show, the McDonald's app. And I go, God, how stupid. The drive-thru isn't that bad of a experience for me to need to park in a space and have a Sonic runner come to my car. So I download it anyway. Next morning I get, hey, how would you like a coffee from McDonald's? Push notification. And I'm like, F you, McDonald's, delete, uninstall. Mm-hmm. So there's a line you can draw. Like, great. You can have these, this community.
Well, yeah. Number one, what are you doing that deserves real estate on my phone?
Right. Yeah. Number 2, don't destroy my experience. Like if I want to order my crap from you, I'll order it, but don't you dare. Shipped is starting to do that, and I really like Shipped. Mm-hmm. It's like every Sunday now, if I don't order Shipped, they're going, didn't you order Shipped today? Why didn't you order Shipped today?
Turn off your notifications. Like every time I drive by a Starbucks, I get a message saying, ooh, Starbucks, 8 Mile in Woodward. Like, no, I don't want your damn coffee right now. I use you to pay. That's all I do it for. Just turn off your notifications, man.
Google Play, I don't know where. It takes too long. I just rather bitch about it on my podcast.
There lies the problem.
I would just rather bitch about it on my podcast.
There lies the challenge, right? You want to serve people, but you don't want to go overboard to where you're annoying the hell out of people, and that's a tough thing.
So you guys dove into the influencer game a little bit, at least locally. Talk to us about the show you're doing and your plans to expand it.
So so with the University of Michigan, we are launching the M Zone, which is a community for all things Michigan sports. It'll be a community, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube channel, podcast with you guys, which we're excited about. And
we didn't know that.
Totally.
We're announcing it right now. It's on tape.
Yeah. Not yet. We're working on it. But excited about it. And again, we've got great star talent. You know, former Michigan football player, pro player was the host, and a whole host of different talent people and topics. But
say the guests that guy brings,
man,
that's second to none. Like you were name dropping, and at first I was gonna be like, ooh, but then I'm like, that's kind of cool actually. Like
he's like, ooh,
yeah, exactly, exactly.
And that seems to be the game. We kind of call it micro influencers now. The market by market influencers that maybe have a strong play to Michigan fans as opposed to trying to be national across the board. So I think we see the emergence of that starting to happen more and more. And, you know, hopefully we'll be able to serve those people with value. And that's our kind of business model. Well, Oreos has 32 million followers on its page. So we think that there might be.
They do?
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to, that new flavor. They want to.
That's right.
Peeps now. The Peeps is all the rage for Easter. Oreo.
Yeah.
I don't know. So what else you guys working on, or what's next?
We're working with some big brands and some other concepts. These brands like McDonald's that have, 100 million fans now are big enough that they're starting to get into the content game. So I'm sure you guys have seen now, you're starting to see original content being created by the likes of McDonald's,
Dude, I
Coca-Cola,
saw a game the other day on Reddit that was called the Big Mac Defender or something, where it was like a side scroller where you're collecting Big Macs. Like, why the hell is McDonald's putting out a game for Big Mac?
Yeah,
because people on Reddit will play it.
That's right.
And I'm not going to lie, I spent like an hour during a conference call grabbing Big Macs.
Yeah,
Would I ever
imagine
eat
what,
one? No.
McDonald's sponsoring one of these e-gamers and having 100 million database of people that they can connect to it. So it's really strange because if you go back to the beginning of television, advertisers, had to have a program they could be part of, and now it's flipped the other way around where they can create the programming themselves. So you guys all know the soap opera story, right?
Yep.
Procter & Gamble created, but it's really kind of unique how it's all flipping around. But we think there's a local opportunity to do that. So I Love Detroit is another podcast and a whole community that we're doing for Metro Detroit. Again, you guys. Is that news to you, or are we still doing it?
No, it's all good. It's all good.
So.
No, the thing, like the one thing I'm seeing now, it's I don't want to say everybody's jumping, but it's the I need a podcast, and it's like, I don't want to see you.
Well,
it's
the I need an app from like 3 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But unless it's not doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is that different from the MDOT version of your site?
Right. Like, I argued, some of my biggest arguments were, unless you give me a different experience or something else, give me a coupon for crying out loud. Anything. Without a push notification.
Right.
And let me play Clash of Clans within it.
I always tell everybody, imagine Elvis Presley, being a teenager right now. Right? Well, he's got instant access, no barriers. He doesn't have to run around looking for a radio station that might play his music. And that is all emerging all these talent people in all these different areas.
God, that's a great argument to have. Would Elvis make it if he was a teenager today?
Huh?
That's a great.
What would Elvis's YouTube channel be like?
He'd do a whole show. He'd be like Justin Bieber, like selfieing himself, and everybody's like, "This guy's a douchebag." I would almost bet, I would do a whole show on that.
There are a lot of parallels between Elvis and Justin Bieber.
For real, yeah.
You're right.
Like he was actually a talented kid, and he went weird, but now he's trying to be normal again. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. There you go.
So how are you? I guess how are you trying to stay ahead of the curve? Because obviously, I just talked about hey, it's kind of starting stuff. You might be a little late. How are you taking your clients and trying to stay above it or stay around?
A lot of it is, it's like dog years with technology. I mean, it moves so fast that it's to get businesses educated and up to speed is a huge challenge. And we spend a lot of time just educating and trying to get them to look forward and to be thinking about business 2 years from now, 4 years from now, and how they're building and doing their business, because they're still thinking like 10 years ago in a lot of ways. And that's just going to be devastating. Now, you guys are the tech guys, but, blockchain comes in and it starts to take advertising and marketing and these communities to a whole other level. So the shifts that are going to continue to happen are going to devastate some businesses. I think retail is in serious trouble.
Unless they adapt.
And they've got to figure out how to adapt quickly. But, you can go into a lot of retail locations and they're still doing business like it's, 1995 or prior. So.
Yeah. Well, that's some of the biggest problems walking into a Best Buy, for example, with an Amazon app open.
Yeah.
You're there to kick the tires, and then someone's buying from somewhere else.
Dude, it was funny. So that even happened at the Comic-Con this weekend. I walked by a guy who was at one of the booths that was selling comic books as he's sitting there with eBay open on his phone.
You don't understand value. The guy brought this, it's sitting here. I'll pay $5 more, 10% more. For the fact that I can take it home now, the fact that this guy brought it here, people that don't understand that, I saved $4,
and you waited a week,
right? And you paid for the entry,
and
to the
maybe you didn't, and then you got outbid, and then
it had a fold in it. You could have had a nice cut. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's where retailers like Best Buy, though, you mentioned them, are actually succeeding in that. They've got friendly policies, they match Amazon's pricing, and Best Buy is still around mostly. I think.
Well, yeah, I mean they've
done a huge shift.
They've revamped their entire layout.
Big
now it's
time.
all home automation. The games and that kind of stuff are
games are gone.
They're in the way back. No, they're there.
No,
right?
Do they have 6 rows of CDs anymore?
No,
right?
no, one rack. No, games are gone, dude. At Best Buy, the one in Rochester Hills is gone.
Oh yeah,
they left it to GameStop. But what you've noticed though now, there's Apple, Samsung, like these Microsoft, like there's these like almost like they become showcases for these brands. You never got an opportunity to see them in a retail set before. And that's what, and not only that, they went home, like home automation,
I bought my Vivint system through them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they have to support where everything's going. I mean, automotive business, we're in Detroit, but I'll tell you, huge changes there, right? I mean, millennials they're either not going to buy a vehicle or they're going to go to a new model where they do just like with their phones. They can update whenever they want, pay a subscription. So it's just
so a lease.
Yeah, it's it's changing everything.
You want to get your car dealer to roll their eyes at you? Could you say, I got a true car quote? And show them, and I can beat it.
Oh, dude, I was the worst when I bought my car, like a year and a half ago. I did the entire thing via text message because dude, I hate people and I hate cars.
My Volkswagen guy was cool.
Nah, I was like, look, I'm like, here are the 3 cars. Here's the 3
like
cars.
anybody.
No, here's the 3 cars on your website that I saw I liked. Here's the pricing comparisons that I found. What do you got? Boom. I was in the car dealership once when I met the guy, and then a week later I walked in and bought the car. Those were my.
So now you're crabby old man. Think about like the 24-year-olds coming up, how they want to buy, which is probably worse than
me.
Yeah, but worse.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, you have to shift how you do business completely.
So I guess future, 2 years down, can you see? I mean, obviously, are you in tune with what's coming down? What's next? What's that big thing? I mean, the Me Too game obviously is, catching up with what other people are doing. But what's that next cutting edge thing that it's going to get everybody on their feet?
Well, to me, it feels a lot like cable. You've got everybody connected, and we talked earlier about younger people jumping off to Instagram or Snapchat or whatever it might be. These, if you go back, these are the cable networks, right? These are the big companies. These are the Time Warner, Comcast, Adelphias of the world. Now it's a content game. Now it's who can produce the most. Who can produce the new networks, the new Food Network, if you will. The new Tasty is on YouTube as a food network that did $20 million last year in advertising.
Way more than that.
Yeah.
Huge. Those weird videos from the top down about how to make food.
They're the best videos.
$20 million.
I'm addicted. Yeah. No, they made way more than that. I think they were in the hundreds.
Woof. Yeah. And it's crazy. You look at content, right? You've got Netflix now that's put like $1 billion into programming. I mean, your traditional broadcast network
Netflix will give, if you can hand fart for an hour, Netflix will give you a show.
Welcome to Netflix. Netflix, you're greenlit.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazon Prime. I just saw another stat. By 2020, 80% of all mobile traffic is going to be served up through video. So getting back to the content play, it's all about video. We're in really the video age. And so what everybody is doing is how do we create video? So it's about the content, and it's about pull content, not push content. How do you make it engaging? How do you pull people?
It's an on-demand world, man.
Absolutely.
It is. Audio, video. I mean, that to me is the next. It's content on top of these platforms because they're as big as they're. I mean, at 2 billion users, I mean, you got enough. You got everybody.
Yeah. There's only so high it can go.
So if anybody wants to buy you guys a beer or have coffee with it, how do they get a hold of you?
Zing Media Group, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
It's zingmg.com, right?
Zingmg.com and Zing Media Group on any social platform and LinkedIn, and you'll find us.
Awesome. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to play actually the interview we did with Aaron Grabowski from last week from the M Live Pinball Tournament, and that's going to be a wrap. So this is the IT and the D Show, and
we'll be right back.
Yeah,
ish, meh,
kinda.
IT in the D. Read, meet, listen. Networking Detroit. One beer at a time.
Hey guys, this is Time Hawk, Bruce Leroy from The Last Dragon. You're listening to the IT&D Show.
itinthed.com.
Welcome back. Thank you for hanging out with us. This is the one and only IT and the D Show, broadcasting live here in Studio One.
Caston's not here.
No.
Just saying. You brought up his name.
Broadcasting.
Broadcasting.
Yeah,
gotcha.
live from Studio One.
I thought maybe Caston had gained weight.
No.
Oh, no. Okay. So it's still narrow Caston?
No, this is Bob, the sales guy, and it's Dave, the geek. Find us online, itandthed.com. Give us a like on the social and subscribe to us everywhere. Fine podcasts are sold. If you missed us last week, we were at Embrew. We had a little tap takeover pinball charity tournament.
Let's be honest. We were drinking.
We just drank.
I mean, but we were there in support of our new endeavor, Falling Down Beer Company, and in support of Embrew, and in support of the architectural warehouse, salvage warehouse of Detroit, I believe. It was kind of a cool thing.
So we got some knowledge dropped. We just thought like pinball was just some like goofy like thing, like you put a quarter in and like, oh, remember. Like,
I remember pinball.
You're right.
I remember.
But like we got in studio tonight.
Remember pinball? Remember Addams Family? Remember? I remember Addams Family pinball.
Right. It was my favorite. But we have a 2-time Michigan pinball champion.
Who knew that was a thing?
And one of the top ranked pinball players in the world.
Again, who knew that was a thing?
Exactly. Aaron Grabowski's in the house, and Amanda. How you guys doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing
Good. So, the $1 million question, what's on everyone's mind right now is like,
what do you do?
How do you become a quote unquote professional like pinball player? Like, do you just like pick like with me? It was like when you were a kid and if you got 15,000 on pinball on
high score
Pitfall, on Pitfall, you took a picture of it and you mailed it in. You got like coupons and crap like from Atari. You don't remember that, do you?
No.
Oh, totally. Yeah. If you had 15,000, you get to mail in a picture. If you're an old gamer, you remember I'll Google it and I'll show it to you. But like, is there sanctions? So like the league, like bowling league, like how do you become like a pro pinball player?
Well, to be honest, he just pulls a rod and pushes some buttons.
Right.
That's all it really takes.
No,
that's all I do, man. It's 2 flipper buttons. How hard can it be?
And you lift up the butt thing when it's trying to go out. You lift it.
Lift
right.
the game and
the
ball goes back into play. It's
right.
easy.
And then you just say, hey, I got 10 million and like, give me my trophy.
Man, I've been playing for over 30 years. I started playing when I was about 5-6 years old at a place called The Butterfly up here in Warren, Michigan.
I know it well.
Oh, man, that was the place. They had a whole row of pinball machines, and I would spend 4 to 5 hours every single weekend, Saturday and Sunday, just playing these games over and over. And
yeah, I did too.
No,
a lot of my
we
friends
all did that.
Too. Yeah, we all did.
But like then I discovered girls.
I did take a break in my early 20s on that endeavor.
See,
as
you made
well.
it sound like it was continuous,
No,
so I had concerns.
I did have a little bit of a break there, but
no, but not just that. We did console gaming. We had Ataris and Nintendos, and
that's true. I always found my niche was playing pinball. I would take a break, play some Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct, but I would always find my way back to the pinball machine. I just felt like when I played it, after 10 minutes, I just got dialed into the game, and the flippers were like an extension of my hands, and I could just keep that ball going for 30 minutes, an hour, hour and a half. And all the guys that were waiting to play, they'd be like, how the hell is this guy still playing? And at the time I was like 12, 13, 14 years old. And they were like, there was one time a bunch of my friends at the Butterfly, guys are like 40, 50 years old at the time. They would go, you know what? We're just going to go have some dinner at Chili's. We'll be back. Hour and a half, they would come back. I'd be still on the same ball. And they'd be like, how the hell are you still playing? I was like 14 at the time. And surprisingly, those guys some of them are still actually friends with me to this very day.
I mean,
they're supporting me, and they're just like, it's crazy.
Statistically, though, how is that even possible? Because it's very random.
You seem like a normal guy. Like this is not an on the spectrum thing. This isn't like Rain Man. Like this isn't like the Lawnmower Man happening here. It's right.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I can control the ball, I guess, better than some can, and I know the rules of all these games. So I've built up the endurance over the years. I guess that's the thing. Like a lot of times some guys, they can play for like 5 minutes and they lose the ball. I can just see where the ball is going and then catch the ball, hold it, aim for what I'm shooting for, and make the shot, and then catch it again and just kind of keep going. And it's fun. It's fun to actually be able to control something that you're playing where things are so random.
Yeah.
But you can
appearingly random, but
you can kind of control it. One thing that's really helped me over the years is about 2 years ago, I started trying to play with one hand, believe it or not. And so like, I'll put my left hand behind my arm and actually play pinball with my right hand, and I'll go back and forth the flippers. And by doing that, you can actually, in your mind, you try to think 2-3 steps ahead of where's the ball going to bounce off what metal rail is it going to hit the post? Is it going to hit this drop target? And where is it going to bounce in the flipper to catch it and set for the next shot? And so you start thinking 2-3 steps ahead, playing one hand. Then when you introduce your left hand again and playing pinball, all of a sudden you're 10 times better because now you've got both hands at your disposal and you can.
Can we get you to like take over the like emergency alert system in Hawaii? Or because like you clearly think things through a lot better than a lot of organizations that are out there.
So when did these pro, like, you know, this, still trying to get to this. How the hell do you become pro? Like, when did these tournaments like start? Were they always been around?
That's a great question. When I was playing in my early 20s, pinball was on it was like a small decline in the early 2000s. Pinballs, the main companies like William and Bally, they stopped making pinball machines. And they started focusing only on slot machines because that's where the money was.
Right.
The only pinball manufacturer that was left was Stern Pinball from Gary Stern owns the company and has been in business for many years and is doing great. Pinball is now on an incline. Late 2000s, pinball really started to incline. And with Facebook, social networking, all the pinball players kind of started getting back together and playing. There was a core group of guys playing in the IFPA, which is the International Flipper Pinball Association, and also PAPA, which stands for the Professional and Amateur Pinball Association.
It sounds so made up.
I know it does, right? PAPA, come on, right?
Just call them Papa.
And there was
Big
like a
Papa,
group of 4 guys that were playing, and I wish I could have been in that because I didn't even know about it.
It was actually just 4 guys. It was Paul, Anthony, Peter, and Andrew. That's Papa.
They kept it going. Yeah. They kept it going, and I came back in the scene roughly 2011, 2012. And when I came back in, that's when pinball was starting to kind of be on the upswing, and so I kind of got in at the right time. And when I came back into the scene, a lot of these guys that were playing, they're like,
who are you?
Who the hell is this guy? Who does this guy think he is? I'm like, dude, I've been playing my whole life. They're like, yeah, whatever. Well, you're going to have to prove a lot to us guys. Cause
I was zero cool, man.
Yeah. Right. We're the cool group, you know? And over the next couple of years, I started playing these tournaments and started winning a lot of them. And then all of a sudden, they started recognizing, like, this guy is not somebody to kind of mess with. Like, he's actually pretty good. And so I started winning, and it took a while. I had to get some of the rust off because, I had a career going and everything else. And I really hadn't played too much, but I started getting back into the scene. And, 3 years ago, I won state champion in Michigan for the first time. And I kind of made a name for myself.
Now, is it only based on when you win? Is it only based on the score, or is there style? Because you talked about you mentioned to me before we got on the air about efficiency, and I don't know what that means. Like, are you graded like?
Of course you don't. You're a sales guy.
Exactly. But are you graded like? I'm just trying to figure out like how
like economy of moves
there's a format. And every tournament has a certain format that happens. So like for Aaron, it's based off of how he does against certain people. So like Embrew on our Wednesday tournaments, it's usually we get anywhere from 12 to 20 plus people. And it's how does Aaron do every week on those people? Is he continually beating, me? Is he continually beating these people? And, with that, it kind of gives you, they can say, okay, well, this guy in Detroit is doing this with this group of people, or based off of that. And then as you get into the bigger scene, it's how you're doing against everybody that's competing in these, what we could classify as a major tournament. And that's where things kind of get with your efficiency, your rating, and that's what they base off, that's what the IFPA is, which is the International Flipper Pinball Association. And that's kind of where everything actually stems from.
So all these events that, like for example, at Embrew, we hold weekly tournaments every Wednesday at 7 p.m. It's free to everybody. Anybody can come out, but it's an IFPA sanctioned event. And so
is there somebody there someone from the sanctioning body, like overseeing it?
We have tournament directors.
Okay.
And so anybody can pretty much be a tournament director, but we have there's like a set of rules and guidelines that we have to follow to become an IFPA endorsed. And this year, which is the first year, we now have an endorsement fee. So it's $1 per player per event. And graciously, Embrew is sponsoring any tournaments that happen at Embrew. So we kind of got that, business sponsor behind us, and it's, it brings people out and they're like, pinball, this is really cool. Let me come out and play in your tournament.
Yeah. And,
I'm completely mind blown, by the way. Like I knew like a couple places had a couple machines, but I literally had no idea this was like going on.
So right now at Embrew, there is a great guy. His name is Bill Lambesis. He's the tournament director at Embrew. He runs it every week. There's a lot of places in Michigan that you can play to gain these world player ranking points. We call them Whopper points. World player, I think, productivity ranking. I don't know, something like that. But you get these Whopper points. And like there's a place that I always play at, Sparks Pinball Museum in Chesterfield is a great place. They got like 50 pinball machines there. And there's some other places in Michigan to play as well to get these points. But so you play a whole year's worth of events. The top, last year it was top 16. Now, because Michigan is such a big state as far as having players and everything, we're probably going to be considered a super state, which top 24 players can go to state finals. That's once every year. And the top 24 players battle it out, person against person, bracket style, until you have one final winner. And that's how I became state champion. It was, held at Mike Schudel's house in
Picture like
Kalamazoo.
the weirdest version of Karate Kid you've ever seen in your life.
Right.
Like big bracket,
That's pretty much what it is. Everybody, it's like a 9-hour event. It takes forever. It's the best out of 7
Well, yeah,
games.
if you're spending an hour and a half on one ball, yeah, it's a 9-hour event.
Well, yeah.
When do you
These
pee?
games are set a little bit tougher than a normal arcade. Like,
Okay.
Yeah, the out lanes are huge gaps so the ball just flies down there if you're not paying attention and controlling the ball. All these tournament games are set just crazy hard.
No, I think this is the best question. Like, when do you pee?
In between balls and in between matches, you try to slip a
Watch
little,
my game. Like,
Yeah, dude, take over my game. Go.
right.
I got the ball held right here. Just keep your hand on the flipper button.
Can you hold the flipper for me?
Yeah.
At least like Call of Duty, you can hit pause, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Which everybody loves in multiplayer games.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess, here's the big question. Like, is this your job or is this still a hobby thing?
I tell you what, man, if this could be my job, I would probably make it if I could support myself financially off pinball, I probably would to a certain point. It's not at that point yet.
Gotcha.
And
Well, you're wearing a Williams hoodie.
I
I mean,
mean,
that's some. I mean, you got a hoodie for crying out loud. I mean, that's one step in.
Right.
So what does somebody win? Like if they go to this state tournament and they win, what do they get?
So
other than like bragging rights.
So this year there was a minimal cash prize. It was like $200, which is really nothing. But this year that I've paid, and Amanda, she was talking about how every event for every player, it's $1.
Yeah, the certification fees. Yeah.
So now we are halfway through February and there's already $350 in the pot for Michigan. By the time the year is done, we're estimating it to be approximately $3,000 to $4,000 in the pot. And only a portion of that goes to the Nationals event as well. So for example, I'm the state champion. Next week, Thursday, I'm going to be playing in Las Vegas at the Nationals tournament. The top 40 players that won their respective state will be at Nationals, and you can win a brand new pinball machine.
Because there are 10 states that don't have pinball machines.
Yeah, there's like 10-ish states that just aren't cool enough yet in the pinball scene.
Is it like I'm envisioning like over the top and like you're going like the Bull Hurley and he's like, I'm gonna break his neck. Do you guys do like psych out like interviews? Like is it how wrestling is it?
Dude, there are some guys who are like pretty dramatic and pretty like hardcore about it. Yeah,
right.
You know,
Hey man,
I try not to take it
like the way you handle those balls,
pinball,
man.
It's like Street Wars, like
Yeah.
inside versus.
You try to get in their
West
head, mentally break your opponent.
Like basketball, you got to psych out your, yeah.
Psych them out. Yeah.
So Vegas top 40.
Top 40, and if you win it, you win a brand new Stern pinball machine, estimated like $5,000-6,000, and you get $2,000.
Cool.
So that is something that is definitely worth going for. And every year it keeps getting bigger.
And then you go to Worlds if you win National, which this year is in Toronto, Canada. So if there's a year for you to win it, it's right now because we could drive to Toronto.
Right.
Like, do it.
Last year it was in Copenhagen.
A little complicated. Yeah.
So this year it would be a little bit cheaper to go.
Right.
And then also,
you always have to measure the ROI.
Exactly.
Like, I can win a $2,000 prize, spend $6,000 getting there. Yeah.
It was cool. I was just showing Bob earlier. On March 24th is the Stern Pro Circuit main event. This is the top 40 players around the globe that are attending this event. This is at the Bottom Lounge in Chicago, Illinois, March 24th. The tickets, they were $25. They're already sold out, unfortunately, but it's going to be a huge event. Brian Q. Quinn from Impractical Jokers on True TV, he's hosting the event. He's a fellow pinhead as well. He's got pinball machines, and there's a rock band called Blood People. They're performing, and there's going to be like a DJ there. It's going to be a huge thing. It's going to be streamed on I think Twitch TV. So the momentum is building. I think it just needs like a little break, kind of like how Texas Hold'em did in poker, like 2005, 6. Then it just went huge.
Hey man,
I think
if
pinball's on the cusp.
ESPN can show the rock paper scissors world
cornholing
final, there's got to be room for this.
Listen,
there has to be.
There's a lot of entertainment in the actual pinball community. Like when I got together with Aaron, like when the whole single thing, like I didn't know anything about pinball and he wasn't talking about it. And then it was like he like
I don't want to scare her away, right?
Into this, and I'm like, all right, so this has been going on for a while now. You kind of like duped me on this, but
suckered her in. That's the only way to do it.
It was kind of like me with like wrestling and like sci-fi comics and stuff. It was like, oh, by the way, I like wrestling. Like, wait, what?
You can't divulge all that up front.
No.
Hey, I play pinball a lot. Ooh, wow. Tell me more.
Right.
You're so dreamy.
Oh, boy.
And that's the whole part of it. Like a lot of people, like the main questions that we get from people are, you play pinball? Like, do people actually watch that? Like, what is there to watch? Like, they just don't get it. And like, you have to explain it to them. And, going to these major events like Pinburg, when there are 860 players in this tournament.
And it costs about $120, $130 to, tickets just went on sale for Pinburg. It's the biggest pinball tournament in the world every year, and it's held in July. Tickets just went on sale this past Saturday. Within 30 seconds, 840 tickets were gone at $110. The grand prize is huge, but it's held in Pittsburgh each year, so they call it Pinburg.
So what's the conversations like when you get together with the other players? It's like this one time I was playing Adam's Family and the ball got stuck. Like, I don't like.
Oh, there's always bad beat stories, just like in
what
poker.
Can you, no, I'm just saying, what can you?
Ball flipped and oh man, if I just would have made that one more shot, I would have beat you. And you're like, all right, yeah, sure, keep dreaming.
Right. I just can't imagine those conversations. Like it's kind of like the fishing conversation. Like this one time, like I caught a perch and
did you ever hit that glitch?
Right.
Yeah.
It was this big, man, and I'm not kidding.
Right.
Yeah.
Got an extra ball and everything, man.
I once got a score this big.
It's a lot of code update talk for the most part.
Games are always getting updated and people are always
how do you update
scores?
So what do you update on code and like? So I know there's a computer behind it, but there's the mechanics don't change.
The mechanics don't change, but sometimes when a game first comes out, it's brand new. The code might be in like a beta stage, and 6 months down the road, new code for that machine comes out. They update it with like a USB card or like an SD card, and all the rules, everything changes. So it's like you were saying, like playing Addams Family. You play that for 6 months, you're like, man, I love this game. And all of a sudden, a code update comes down, and all of a sudden, there's 5 times more things to do on the game. You're like, holy crap, this game is now even more awesome. That's what happens with a lot of games coming down the pipeline. So, Stern manufacturer, they come out with probably 5-6 games every year. Other manufacturers like Jersey Jack Pinball, they come out with like maybe one solid game a year, where the code is more, up to date. It's because they only got one game coming out every year. And there's a lot of, boutique pinball manufacturers coming out now. Pinball's huge. And like, there's so many games out there that are coming out, and, these games, you can't buy them fast enough. They come out.
And apparently don't ever buy them on eBay.
No,
don't buy them on eBay.
So
everything on eBay is like twice as the amount that it should be. So definitely do not buy pinball. But that's a great question. Like, if you're interested in pinball, where do you buy them? You can't just buy them Myers or Costco, right? Where do you buy pinball machines? And that's the funny thing. It's like you have to find a distributor that works with the pinball company and buy them, or know people in the community. And a lot of these older games, they're not on location. You can't just go to a barcade and play them. It's becoming a little bit more common now, but a lot of them are still in guys' basements or people's basements and their man caves and stuff. So kind of being in the community, knowing kind of where to place some of these games, like at Embrew is a great, you got like 12 of the latest brand new pinball machines there that each game is $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. So, I mean, you have a lot of money on these games just sitting there. And they're in great shape too. That's the thing. Sometimes you go to some of these bars, the games play like crap, and you know the flipper doesn't work, or you get something in a ramp and it doesn't even award you the shot for making it. Who wants to play that? At least at Embrew, everything works.
Cigarette burns, you know.
Yeah. Who wants that? You know.
And they got beer.
I know, right?
I mean,
so you got to answer me an old argument from going back to when I was a kid.
Let's hear it.
That dreaded down the center magnet that would attract the ball to go in the middle, so you either flipper could hit the ball, right? Now, could that be controlled? Because we were convinced that you could dial it up or dial it down. And is that a thing?
Now, are you talking about Addams Family?
Any game.
Because there was a really good magnet on the Addams Family that would send your ball down the middle sometimes. But no, on a lot of these games, there's no magnet. There's no magnet to shoot them down or anything. A lot of players kind of thought there was. Now, on some of these newer games, like there's a brand new game called Dialed In. It's by Jersey Jack Pinball. There's 3 magnets underneath the playfield that will actually grab your ball, twirl it, and then throw it right down the middle. So, like, games nowadays are pretty brutal. You got to be watching out.
Or Walking Dead,
but
aka the turd.
Back in the day, no, there was no magnets.
You're answering that with like a shit-eating grin, as if
no magnets at all.
Yeah, because you know what? He doesn't know what it's like for it to shoot down the center.
Right.
As he sits there and plays for an hour and a half, and you're like, on a 2-player game, you're like, hey, you want to stop so I can play?
Most of the time that the ball is going down the middle, it can be saved. You can do, we call it a slap save, where you kind of hit the side of the machine, but while you're hitting the side of the machine, you hit the flipper button. So it moves the playfield just enough to where the flipper makes contact with the ball and you can save it. And you might get one danger, because you can shake the machine a little bit and get a danger, another danger, and then the third time you tilt it and then you lose your ball, you lose your bonus. But it gives you some leeway to where you can kind of nudge the game, shake it, manipulate the board how you want to save the ball from going down the middle. The out lanes are a different story. That's a different skill set. Sometimes you can save the ball from going down the out lanes, but going down the middle, you can usually save it somehow or another. Yeah.
Okay. So, I was great when I was a kid, hypothetically, and I didn't know this existed. Now I want to get back into it. Obviously Embrew, and obviously the place on 23 in Chesterfield. Yeah. But what about across Michigan? What other places are have these either weekly tournaments or these little dollar buy-in nights? Is there any other places that you know of?
Yeah, I mean, if you're let's see, there's
here in Grand Rapids, there's the Pyramids game.
Okay.
Which is, I highly recommend checking out. It's a very cool place
they've got like
to go in.
30-ish games on location, and I know the people over there, they all play very well, but there's a league there, I think every Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay. Is there a barcade? Do they do leagues there in St. Clair Shores?
There's a place called
DK's Terrace. Yeah.
Terrace. They got games at DK Barcade.
But
there's no leagues though. That's
okay. Got it.
They got games there. There's games at like Marvin's Mechanical Museum. Marvelous Marvin's Mechanical Museum.
What a great place.
Marvin's Marvelous Mechanical Museum.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
They have games there. There's some games.
The arcade in Brighton has games.
In Royal Oak and Ferndale, there's so many places like One Eyed Betty's. They got games there.
You know what I never understood? We talked about like how much I hate Dave & Buster's like before the show.
Yeah.
But I never understood why Dave & Buster's never got into a retro room for the dads like me, right? Because we take our kids now.
Well, in the past, so it was mainly because they were using card readers, but now you've got places popping up like Round One, where Round One is getting ready to have actual pinball machines, and in the works currently, they're going to start having pinball tournaments there as well. And Round One just opened up in Auburn Hills and Great Lakes Crossing. Yeah.
There's no pinball machines there yet at the time of this recording, but within a week or two, there's going to be 4 and possibly more up there from Stern. And so that's going to be another great location. There's places up in Frankenmuth at the Bavarian Inn. There's some pinballs on location.
In
Go
Detroit.
play up there.
Ready Player
At
One has got
Richfield Bowl.
games.
Up, yeah, there's. I mean, right now in Michigan, there's such a plethora of locations to actually play. If you're in the Detroit metro area, come hang out at Ferndale. Come say hi to me. I'll probably be up there. I'm like the wallpaper. I'm always there. And if you have any questions, I'll help you out.
And you have an interesting nickname, by the way.
A good friend of mine. He's a bit of an asshole as well. His name is Michael Stewart. He called
hashtag.
Yeah, he called just on Facebook. He put under one of my comments. He put hashtag asshole, and it kind of stuck. And so my nickname now is hashtag asshole. If there's kids around, it's just hashtag. But on Facebook, they call me a hashtag asshole because a lot of times if I go to a tournament or if I play, I'm usually putting up a high score or winning the tournament, and it's just kind of become a term of endearment. You know, hey, it's hashtag
so is it
asshole.
ASS? Is it ASS then when you get the high score?
That's what they put if he doesn't put his
if I
initials.
walk away and I just say, third place, who wants that?
Right.
They'll put an ass.
But what he isn't telling you is that this one-handed trick he was talking about earlier, he uses that to hustle people for their dollars because nobody wants to play a normal game with him on Game of Thrones.
You know what happened at Kingpin, right? You've seen the movie. They put your other hand in the ball return, you know. But hey, this is a fun conversation. We appreciate the time. Appreciate hanging out with us. Aaron Grabowski, Amanda, how do we find you online? Just look you up on come to Embrew on Wednesday, Thursdays.
Yeah. Facebook page, Embrew Pinball. And
Embrew Pinball League.
We welcome everybody in. You know, come have a good time. Bring your kids. It's a family event. You know.
Yeah.
Awesome pizza and awesome beer.
Appreciate this opened up my world a little bit. I appreciate the conversation, stuff I didn't know existed. I always like these kind of talks.
You got it.
We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back. This is the IT and the D Show.
Hey, we may or may not be right back. This might be the last segment. Who knows?
All right, this is going to wrap things up for episode 236 of the IT and the D Show. We'd like to thank Neil and Fan from the High Score eSports, Sean and Brad from Zing Media, Aaron Grabowski, the Pinball Wizard. Thank you to Google, Microsoft, AppRiver, and Google. Thank you for keeping the lights on. On behalf of Bob and Dave and Nuri and Randy, do us all a favor. Drink up your drinks. Get your phone numbers. You don't got to go home. You just got to get the hell out of here. See you next week. Drive careful. Beat it. Who knows?
The emergency destruct system is now activated.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Long live Flash! You've saved your Earth. Have a nice day.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Nice shooting, son. What's your name? Murphy. Make the run. The run.
Game over, man. It's game over.
It's over, Johnny. It's over.
Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.
I can't say no, and I don't really want to, so.
Well, especially with the back doors open.
Yo! Hold up! Time out! Time out! Y'all take a chill. You need to cool that shit out. And that's the double truth. Ruth.
Bob loves it in the can.
I hope this was as much fun for you as it was for me.
That's why I like it in the can.
Joe, own the truth.
Bear me.
My job is to make sure this program is morally upright and cultural and wholesome.
Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy! Shut up, Mimsy!
Why would Buick put their cars next to the Bentleys? Why? That's not marketing.
The alphabet.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, I can't take that position.
That analogy sucks because it's right.
Because you're getting your 8-track tuned up.
Are we at a break yet? Yeah, so now I'm just like doing like stupid stuff to make me laugh.
Venture capital is not the end game.
When are we going to talk about me?
Jane, you ignorant slut.
It's my show. I can say what I want.
Yeah. Kiss my ass, go home, unplug, get off the goddamn internet. You are everything that is wrong with the internet right now.
You're so white right now.
I'm the whitest guy in the room. Just explain it to me.
I love this city.
I was banging on the wang.
Really? Should we talk about this? Tag team it. Should I keep going or should I stop?
Can I just say, it's been great being on a show that talks about Mickey Rooney dying for 20 seconds and then poop for 10 minutes.